Right now, your liver is silently rotting, suffocating under a toxic fortress of fat fueled by the exact health foods you ate today. The medical industry is lying to you. Watch to the very end, because the biological secret to resurrecting this organ will literally save your life. Millions of people will wake up tomorrow morning, blend a massive pitcher of sugary fruits, add a handful of kale and a squeeze of lemon, and cheerfully chug down what they believe is the ultimate cellular cure. They think they are purifying themselves. In reality, they are triggering a metabolic catastrophe, gleefully drowning the most vital organ in their body while clinging to a childish illusion. The brutal truth is that 99% of what you have been told about detoxifying your body is not just a marketing lie, it is a direct insult to human physiology. The diet industry has sold you a fairy tale that could end up costing you your life, and it is happening right inside you, in complete and terrifying silence. If you want to uncover the dark truth about your metabolism that the mainstream wellness industry is desperately trying to hide, I urge you to stay with me and listen to every single word until the very last second of this video, because what you are about to hear will shatter everything you thought you knew. But before we tear down these dangerous medical myths, please hit that subscribe button to support us, giving us the motivation to continue producing these deep, life-saving videos for you in the future. Canada Senior Health Guide 04 warmly welcomes you to a biological awakening that will forever change how you treat your own flesh and blood. Let us put an end to this bizarre fantasy right here and now. Your liver is not a physical garbage disposal unit sitting in your abdomen. It is not a dirty sponge that you can aggressively wring out with laxatives or sugar-spiked lemon water. To truly understand this magnificent organ, you must stop visualizing your body as a machine and start seeing it as a living, breathing ecosystem. Imagine your body as a pristine fish tank. When the water in that tank becomes clouded with toxic sludge, you do not pull the fish out, aggressively scrub its scales with soap, and throw it back into the poisoned water. You have to purify the entire aquatic environment. Your liver is the grand, tireless chemical purification plant that keeps this water crystal clear. By its very design, it does not hold onto garbage. It does not store toxins, except in one highly specific, catastrophic scenario that you might be inflicting upon yourself right this very moment. True detoxification is a wildly complex, two-phase biochemical miracle driven by an elite system of enzymes known as cytochrome P450. Day and night, silent assassins invade your bloodstream, from the pesticides on your vegetables and heavy metals in your water to industrial chemicals in the air and residues from the medications you swallow. The vast majority of these deadly invaders are fat-soluble. If left unchecked, they would effortlessly slip straight through your cell membranes, hijacking your mitochondria and mutating your very DNA. Your liver's sacred duty is to hunt down these fat-soluble poisons, violently break apart their chemical structures, and attach specialized molecules to them, forcing them to become water-soluble. Only then can these neutralized threats be safely escorted out of your body through your bile to be excreted in stool, or through your blood to be filtered by your kidneys. Your liver is an unstoppable metabolic sponge, constantly absorbing, neutralizing, and squeezing out waste. But a profound tragedy unfolds when you overwhelm this system with mountains of refined carbohydrates and hidden sugars. When the liver cannot process the sheer volume of glucose rushing into its gates, it panics. It is forced to convert all that excess sugar directly into fat through a biological process called de novo lipogenesis, furiously stuffing those fat droplets inside its own working cells. This is the birth of a fatty liver, and it is the exact moment the nightmare begins. Because environmental toxins are naturally fat-soluble, this newly formed, unnatural fat trapped inside your liver suddenly becomes a massive, welcoming fortress for every poison in your blood. The liver, once your greatest protector, is forcibly transformed into a toxic landfill. Your immune system is not blind. It sees this swelling, toxic fat infiltration as a deadly infection. Macrophages, the aggressive soldiers of your immune system, march into the liver and launch a fiery assault, unleashing a chaotic storm of inflammation known as steatohepatitis. Liver cells begin to die, suffocating in fat and fire, and are slowly replaced by hard, lifeless scar tissue. If you do not intervene, this insidious scarring advances into cirrhosis. The magnificent architecture of your chemical plant collapses. the blood vessels are strangled, and the detoxification engine grinds to a devastating halt, leaving your entire body to drown in its own waste. You cannot reverse this physiological horror by drinking a glass of celery juice. True liver detoxification means aggressively cutting off the toxic supply of sugar and refined carbohydrates to literally starve and melt away the diseased fat that is holding those poisons hostage. To successfully melt away the diseased fat and liberate your captive liver, we must first unmask the true identity of the biochemical assassin that infiltrated your cells in the first place. For decades, we have been told that a calorie is simply a calorie, and that weight gain or organ failure is merely the result of eating too much and moving too little. This catastrophic oversimplification has single-handedly driven the greatest epidemic of chronic disease in human history. The truth is that your liver does not treat all calories equally, and there is one specific carbohydrate that bypasses every natural metabolic checkpoint in your body: fructose. I am not talking about the trace amounts of natural fructose bound up in the protective fiber of wild berries. I am talking about the highly refined, concentrated liquid fructose aggressively pumped into our sodas, juices, salad dressings, and so-called health foods. When you consume glucose, every single cell in your body can utilize it for energy, dispersing the metabolic load. But when you consume isolated fructose, your liver is left completely alone to deal with the entirety of the toxic burden. From an evolutionary perspective, fructose was a rare, seasonal survival signal. Thousands of years ago, late summer fruit served a very specific, life-saving purpose for our ancestors. It signaled the liver to rapidly convert those sugars into visceral fat to survive the impending famine of winter. It was a biological switch that turned on insulin resistance, ensuring that our ancestors could hoard enough fat to keep their hearts beating when food vanished under the snow. But look around you today. The famine never comes. We are living in an artificial, perpetual late summer, constantly triggering that ancient survival switch with every sip of a sweetened beverage and every bite of a processed snack. Your liver is frantically preparing for a winter starvation period that simply does not exist in the modern world. As this concentrated fructose floods your system, it depletes your cells of ATP, the very energy currency of life, leaving you feeling chronically exhausted despite being overfed. Your liver becomes trapped in a vicious cycle of lipogenesis, furiously packing away fat. This unnatural expansion triggers a systemic alarm. Your pancreas, sensing that the cells are becoming deaf to its signals, pumps out higher and higher levels of insulin to force the blood sugar down. This is hyperinsulinemia, a silent, creeping terror that can persist undetected for 10 or 20 years before it finally breaks the system and manifests as type 2 diabetes. During those silent decades, high insulin acts as a relentless growth hormone, stimulating the proliferation of skin tags, driving the growth of cysts, thickening your blood vessels, and locking the fat firmly inside your liver cells, refusing to let it be burned for fuel. You might look in the mirror and think you are relatively healthy because you are not severely overweight, but this disease does not always announce itself on the outside. You can be thin on the outside but dangerously fat on the inside, harboring a liver that is suffocating under layers of ectopic fat. The fatigue you feel at 2 in the afternoon, the brain fog that clouds your thoughts, the dull ache under your right rib cage, and the slowly expanding waistline are not normal signs of aging. They are desperate cries for help from an organ that is drowning. The medical establishment will often wait until your liver enzymes are sky-high on a blood test before they even mention a problem. But by the time those enzymes spill into your blood, massive cellular death has already occurred. Your liver cells are literally bursting open, spilling their contents into your bloodstream. We cannot wait for the system to fail completely before we decide to act. We must stop actively poisoning the well. If we want to restore this brilliant chemical plant to its former glory, we have to eliminate the constant influx of refined fructose and lower our baseline insulin, effectively telling the liver that the eternal winter preparation is finally over. Once you make the conscious, life-saving decision to stop flooding your liver with this modern liquid poison, your next mandate is to provide your body with the exact architectural materials it requires to repair the devastation. We must move far away from the infantile concept of drinking a magical detox tea and embrace the hardcore, profound nutritional biochemistry that actually governs human healing. The liver does not need a cleanse. It needs raw materials. If the liver has become a stagnant, toxic landfill, the first thing we must do is reopen the biological highways that allow fat and waste to be exported out of the organ. The most critical, yet criminally overlooked nutrient required for this evacuation is choline. Choline is the master key that unlocks the liver's fat-exporting machinery. It is used to synthesize specialized transport vehicles called very low-density lipoproteins, or VLDLs. Think of VLDLs as the freight trains of your metabolism. Without sufficient choline, these freight trains cannot be built, and the fat remains trapped, rotting inside the liver. Where do we find this miraculous nutrient? The mainstream diet industry has spent the last 50 years demonizing the very foods that contain it. The absolute highest concentrations of bioavailable choline are found in pasture-raised egg yolks and grass-fed beef liver, foods that we were falsely told would clog our arteries and cause heart attacks. By abandoning these incredibly nutrient-dense, ancestral foods in favor of heavily processed, sugar-laden grains, we inadvertently starved our livers of the exact molecule needed to prevent fatty liver disease. Reintroducing these powerful whole foods is not a dietary step backward. It is a return to physiological sanity. But rebuilding the liver requires more than just exporting the fat. We must also neutralize the roaring fire of inflammation that is actively destroying the tissue. For this, your body relies on a master antioxidant, a molecular shield so powerful that human life cannot exist without it: glutathione. You cannot easily take a glutathione pill and expect it to work, because the digestive system will break it apart. Your body must manufacture it internally, and to do so, it demands high-quality, sulfur-rich compounds. This is where the true power of cruciferous vegetables comes into play. Brussels, sprouts, cabbage, broccoli, and radishes are loaded with a pungent compound called sulforaphane, which speaks directly to your DNA, turning on the genetic pathways that command the liver to produce massive, surging waves of glutathione. When you combine these with the powerful allium compounds found in raw garlic and onions, you give your liver the raw ammunition it needs to hunt down heavy metals, neutralize reactive oxygen species, and cool the blazing fires of steatohepatitis. Furthermore, we must reignite the flow of bile. Bile is not just a fluid that digests your dietary fats. It is the primary river of waste removal for the liver. When the liver is sick, this river becomes thick, sluggish, and sludgy, causing toxins to back up into the bloodstream. For centuries, traditional medicine correctly utilized bitter herbs to stimulate this vital flow. The bitter compounds found in dark, leafy greens like dandelion, arugula, and kale interact with receptors on your tongue and in your stomach, sending an immediate neurological signal to your liver to contract and flush out its stagnant bile. We have bred the bitterness out of our modern food supply, favoring sweet, highly palatable fruits and vegetables that do absolutely nothing to stimulate our digestive juices. We must intentionally bring the bitter back. By incorporating choline-rich animal foods to export the fat, sulfur-rich vegetables to manufacture cellular armor, and bitter greens to flush the toxic sludge, you are no longer passively hoping for your body to heal. You are stepping into the role of a biological architect, actively handing your liver the precise, sophisticated tools it requires to reconstruct its own shattered infrastructure. Yet, even if you flood your system with these magnificent, life-giving nutrients, your liver cannot truly resurrect itself unless you grant it the ultimate biological luxury: the profound healing silence of an empty stomach. We have been brainwashed into believing that we must eat 6 small meals a day to keep our metabolism running. A disastrous piece of advice that ensures our insulin levels remain chronically elevated from the moment we wake up until the moment we close our eyes. When you are constantly digesting, absorbing, and assimilating food, your liver is trapped in a state of endless labor. It is acting as a frantic warehouse worker, endlessly receiving shipments and desperately trying to find a place to store them. Under these conditions of continuous feeding, cellular repair is absolutely impossible. Growth and repair are mutually exclusive biological states. Your body cannot clean house while it is simultaneously trying to process incoming cargo. To initiate the deepest level of true liver detoxification, you must embrace the ancient, evolutionary practice of intermittent fasting. When you intentionally withhold food for a period of 16, 18, or 24 hours, a miraculous metabolic shift occurs. As your blood sugar slowly drops, the pancreas stops releasing insulin and instead releases its counter-regulatory hormone, glucagon. Glucagon is the biochemical messenger of liberation. It knocks on the door of the liver cells and commands them to stop storing and start burning. The liver responds by cracking open its toxic fat vaults, converting those trapped lipid droplets into brilliant, clean-burning molecules called ketones. These ketones flood your bloodstream, traveling to your brain and your heart, providing a remarkably efficient, anti-inflammatory fuel source that clears away the mental fog and leaves you with an incredible sense of clarity and boundless energy. You are literally burning away the diseased tissue that was slowly killing you. But the magic of fasting goes far beyond just burning fat. As the hours of fasting stretch on, the absence of nutrients flips an ancient genetic switch, activating a spectacular cellular survival mechanism known as autophagy. Autophagy translates from Greek as self-eating, and it is exactly what it sounds like. When the liver cells realize that no outside nutrients are coming in, they begin to look internally for fuel and building blocks. They become incredibly efficient, ruthless recycling machines. Specialized cellular structures called lysosomes begin to hunt down the dead, damaged, and dying organelles within the liver. They consume the misfolded proteins, they devour the oxidized, toxic lipid particles, and they aggressively digest the encroaching scar tissue that threatens to turn into cirrhosis. Autophagy is the ultimate, built-in biological purification system. It is a highly intelligent microscopic Pac-Man, stripping away the broken components of your liver and using the raw amino acids to build entirely new, fully functional tissue. This process cannot be bought in a pharmacy. There is no prescription drug on the face of the earth that can replicate the profound, sweeping cellular house cleaning of autophagy. It is entirely free, woven into the very fabric of your DNA by millions of years of evolution, just waiting for you to unlock it. The mainstream medical industry does not want to talk about fasting because there is absolutely no profit to be made in advising a patient to temporarily consume nothing. They would rather prescribe you a lifetime of statins to lower your cholesterol artificially or inject you with synthetic hormones to manage your blood sugar, all while your liver silently continues to rot from the inside out. When you choose to fast, you are rejecting this broken medical paradigm. You are giving your liver the precious gift of metabolic rest. You are stepping out of the way and allowing the infinite wisdom of the human body to perform the complex, awe-inspiring surgery of cellular regeneration that no human doctor could ever dream of orchestrating. Stepping into this state of profound cellular renewal requires far more than just altering your meal schedule. It demands a radical, unapologetic reclamation of your own metabolic destiny. For too long, you have been treated as a passive consumer by a massive, multi-trillion-dollar food industry that chemically engineers its products to hijack your brain's reward centers, and a pharmaceutical industry that eagerly waits at the finish line to manage the chronic diseases caused by those very foods. They have convinced you that your deteriorating health is just a natural consequence of aging or the result of bad genetics. They want you to believe that you are broken and entirely dependent on their synthetic solutions to survive. But the truth is, your body is not broken. Your liver is responding exactly the way it was designed to respond when placed in a highly toxic, entirely unnatural environment. The fault does not lie in your biology. The fault lies in the environment you have been tricked into accepting as normal. Understanding the astonishing regenerative capacity of the human liver should fill you with an overwhelming sense of hope. The liver is the only visceral organ in the human body that possesses the godlike ability to completely regenerate itself. You can surgically remove up to 70% of a healthy liver, and within mere weeks, the remaining tissue will grow back to its full, original size and completely restore its vital functions. This organ desperately wants to live. It is fighting for your survival every single second of every single day, neutralizing poisons, regulating your blood, and shielding your brain from toxins. It has never given up on you, despite the decades of abuse, the hidden sugars, the refined oils, and the chemical overload. Now, it is your turn to stop betraying it. It is your turn to become the fierce, uncompromising protector of your own internal ecosystem. When you drastically cut refined carbohydrates and fructose from your life, when you prioritize nutrient-dense, ancestral foods that provide choline and sulfur, and when you embrace the quiet, healing discipline of fasting, you are not just following another diet. You are staging a full-scale biological rebellion. You are watching the fat melt away from your midsection, feeling the heavy, lethargic fog lift from your mind, and experiencing a surge of genuine cellular vitality that you likely have not felt since you were a child. You are taking back ownership of your flesh and blood. This is the biological awakening we strive to bring you here at Canada Senior Health Guide 04. We are not interested in temporary fixes or superficial wellness trends. Our mission is to arm you with the deep, unapologetic truth about human physiology so that you can navigate your golden years with strength, dignity, and absolute metabolic freedom. The journey to true health is not found at the bottom of a sweet, green detox smoothie, nor is it found in a plastic pill bottle. It is found in the courage to look the modern food environment in the eye and say, "No more." It is found in respecting the magnificent, complex machinery of your own body and giving it exactly what it needs to heal itself. The power has always been inside of you, waiting to be unleashed. I urge you to take this knowledge, share it with those you love, and start making the changes today, right at your very next meal. If this deep dive has opened your eyes and empowered you to take control of your health, please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, hit the like button, and ensure you are subscribed to Canada Senior Health Guide 04. Your support is the lifeblood of this channel, allowing us to continue exposing the myths and bringing you the life-saving science you truly deserve. The resurrection of your health begins right now. Step forward and claim it. In conclusion, the epidemic of fatty liver disease and chronic metabolic dysfunction is not a consequence of aging or faulty genetics, but rather a direct result of a modern food environment that actively poisons our internal ecosystems. The relentless influx of refined liquid fructose acts as a biological assassin, overwhelming the liver, driving up insulin, and locking toxic fat deep within our cells. However, your liver possesses an awe-inspiring ability to completely regenerate itself, provided you stop the dietary assault and give it the precise tools it requires. Healing begins when we abandon the myth of commercial detoxes and instead embrace hardcore nutritional biochemistry. By reintroducing choline-dense ancestral foods like pasture-raised egg yolks and grass-fed liver, we build the necessary transport vehicles to export trapped fat. By consuming sulfur-rich cruciferous vegetables and bitter greens, we manufacture crucial antioxidants like glutathione and stimulate the vital flow of waste-clearing bile. Ultimately, true cellular resurrection requires the profound healing silence of intermittent fasting, which unlocks the miraculous biological purification system known as autophagy. You are not broken, nor are you destined for a lifetime of pharmaceutical dependency. By rejecting the toxic modern diet and respecting your body's evolutionary design, you step into the role of a biological architect. You have the absolute power to rebuild your shattered infrastructure, reverse decades of cellular damage, and reclaim your metabolic freedom. The most profound takeaway is that your body is never betraying you. It is simply doing exactly what it was designed to do when placed in a highly toxic, unnatural environment. The modern medical and food industries profit immensely from your metabolic dysfunction by offering lifelong synthetic management rather than a true cure. True healing cannot be bought in a pharmacy. It is an inside job that requires rejecting the illusion of quick fixes and trusting the infinite, evolutionary wisdom of your own DNA to repair and regenerate itself when given the right raw materials and the luxury of digestive rest. Eliminate the poison. Radically cut out refined liquid fructose, especially sodas, sweetened juices, and processed snacks. That force your liver into a relentless state of fat storage and exhaust your cellular energy. Supply the architecture. Deliberately incorporate choline-rich ancestral foods like pasture-raised eggs and grass-fed liver to help your body export trapped fat. Add sulfur-rich cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and bitter greens arugula, dandelion to your meals to boost glutathione production and flush out stagnant bile. Embrace healing silence. Start practicing intermittent fasting. Begin by simply pushing your breakfast back a few hours to create a 14 to 16-hour fasting window overnight and into the morning. This allows your insulin to drop, waking up the fat-burning hormone glucagon and triggering the deep cellular house-cleaning process of autophagy. What is one small change you plan to make to your daily routine after learning how incredibly capable your liver is of regenerating itself? Please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and perspectives so we can all learn and draw inspiration from each other's journeys. If you found this information empowering, please hit the subscribe button to support Canada Senior Health Guide 04. Your subscription gives us the motivation to continue exposing the myths and bringing you the life-saving science you truly deserve.